Guys, let's have a talk. We have a huge problem. Look at the graph. Less than 5% of you are subscribed to my channel. It doesn't take much to make me happy. How about 1 in 5 of you subscribe right now?
Is flirting a cheating? I wanted to post my story here because this sub is filled with poor souls who have experienced the worst of the worst of the worst. I was one of you once. I walked in on my first ex balls deep in another woman on my bed once. But this cheating story I want to share is different. I want to give the other end of the cheating spectrum, and why you're always valid for leaving over any level of infidelity. I'm 2 for 2 on cheating husbands, but this time, the pain is in my hands and on my terms. My ex was raised by a single mom. His dad left his mother with 3 young boys to pursue a younger woman and new family, and my ex always said he would never cheat because of how it destroyed his mother. I believed him. When we first met, he confessed he's been sexually active with over 500 women. I believed him. But this was a red flag to me. When I asked why me out of 500, he always told me I'm marriage material, mother material, that I love him for him, unlike those other women who only cared about DCK and money. I shouldn't have quieted that place in my mind that said red flag, but I did. But aside from that, he was perfect. Until he wasn't. I found flirty messages on his phone to 4 different girls. The girls weren't even flirting back, just being friendly, but his messages made him seem like a single man out to get laid. No insinuations of an affair were made, and I highly doubt he physically cheated, but the act of seeking out other women for romance? I couldn't suffer it. I confronted him calmly and ended it right there. In his defense, Hess playing the role of the perfect, remorseful gentleman. He hasn't blamed me, lied, gaslighted, or diminished my feelings. He immediately fessed up to the flirting and did everything right. He told me there is just too much temptation out there and he was only seeking validation due to low self-esteem, and it isn't my fault. But it isn't enough. And that's okay. He told me I'll spend the rest of my life proving myself to you. You're perfect and I'll never stop working to deserve you. I'll go to therapy. I'll give you my phone. I'll delete social media, etc. But what about me? What about my life with you? Am I to spend the only life I've got with a man I'll never trust? If you have to spend a lifetime trusting someone, what is the point? The foundation is shattered. And if I am so perfect, then why wasn't I enough in the first place for you? I won't be with a man who has to completely delete social media just to behave. I won't build the foundation of a family with a man who is made of sand. And I'm not jealous. I don't care about him talking to women. But I care when he disrespects our relationship to seek out romantic extracurriculars. He would never tolerate me texting another man, "Hey there sexy," romantic face. So I left. I left my marriage over flirty Instagram messages, because I won't spend my life looking over my shoulder. I would rather be alone than miserable. And for people who still enjoy the high of flirting with strangers, just because you don't duck doesn't mean it isn't cheating. Flirting busts holes in foundations, and those foundations are a hell of a lot harder to repair than they are to build. So do yourself a favor and don't get in a relationship if you still desire this kind of narcissistic validation. It's okay if you're single, but not if you're taken. And if you've ever been told that leaving over harmless text is just throwing a relationship away, do yourself a favor as well and find someone worth building a future with. That's all. And to my ex-husband, one day when your beautiful blue eyes are covered in cataracts, and your muscles turn to flab, and your thick dark hair starts to thin and fall out, I hope you're happy. Because the high of seeing pretty girls and having them respond will fade quickly. One day, if you don't change, you're going to look around and find an empty household. Money, attractiveness, material possessions. It never mattered love. I hope you learn that lesson before it's too late. I would have been there, and I think you know it. But I will never be a doormat. Best of luck in your Tinder endeavors. I am many things, but I am not one of 500. Girlfriend cheats with my boss.
About 22 years ago I was working at a packing plant, and had just ended a 4-year long-term relationship, where I was cheated on, put her to the curb, and started dating again. I met this recently divorced girl at work, who was the receptionist. She was cute and a lot of fun, So we started seeing each other. Everything was going well, but I wasn't serious about anything long term. She would drop hints about moving in together, and I just never could pull the trigger with her. Something was wrong. We got really busy at work, and I was volunteering for as much as I could to make extra money. I worked evenings and my crew was small, and we were really close. One night one of my guys said he saw my boss car at my girlfriend's apartment building. Since he lived about 30 miles away, I knew something was up. I had worked for him the previous weekend and my girlfriend ended up going to the casino that weekend, since I got called into work. Lol. I knew something was up. So I walked up to her door and knocked. She asked, "Who is it?" I said, "It's me, baby. I dropped by to see how you're doing." I had a few minutes. She opened the door and let me in, and he was nowhere to be seen. I asked him to step out and he did. I asked what was going on and how long. They said they had been hooking up for about 2 weeks. My boss, who was recently divorced, was having hell with his ex. I had felt sorry for him up to this point. I said, well, I didn't appreciate the high school bullcrap, and that I didn't care if he saw her. If he wanted a turn, he could have just told me, and we could have been adults about it. He apologized about it, and then I told him that I didn't want this to interfere with my art. I still wanted to work as many weekends as I could. He said no problem. I never at any point acknowledged my soon-to-be ex's existence. She immediately became invisible and unable to make sound in my presence. She kept trying to get my attention and apologize, but I never responded to her in any way. Between his messy divorce and my girlfriend, my boss had been dating this cute young girl about 20 that worked at the plant. A few days later at work, she asked me what was going on. I told her about what happened, and she was a little hurt. I told her that it was good she found out now, before it was more serious. She said we should go out and PSS them off, which we did, and she was a freak. I had a lot of fun with her. One day in the office, while my boss was in there, one of my coworkers asked me how my date went. I said it was great and possibly the best trade I had ever made. No regrets. My boss just got up and walked out. We didn't speak other than business for about 2 weeks. On Fridays we sold employee sales to employees. The employees would go to the receptionist and pay and get a ticket to bring to us, and we would give them their food. My boss said, "Hey, I'm gonna take these 10 boxes, £10, and I'll pay for them up front on my way out." The road out went right past the receptionist office, so I could see if he paid or not. He did not. Drove right past. Since he had seemed to make this decision on the fly, I called the plant accountant and asked him to check the cash box and the tickets to see if there were any there for my boss. I was suspecting that my ex would just fill out the tickets and have them ready, and that way we couldn't catch her unless the box was short. No tickets had been made, so he just got in trouble and was eventually fired. Later she was being scrutinized and seemed to be short in the cash box, but unable to tell for sure. So they had someone come in and pay for food with a $100 bill. Since there were no big orders done the rest of the day, that would have required $100 as change. And since the $100 bill was missing from the box at the end of the day, they knew she was skimming. She got fired. I replaced boss as the superintendent of the department. I got rid of a cheating girlfriend, had freaky ass time with his ex, and got to brag about it to his face. Got rid of same cheating boss, got 2 thieves fired, got a promotion, and still got to keep my art. Things usually don't work out that well for me, but that was priceless.
My husband cheated on me with someone worse, and that makes me feel depressed. I caught my husband cheating with this woman. I am 27, he is 37, and the woman is 44, divorced with 3 kids. Every time my husband got drunk, he would call her and ask her to come pick him up, and they went out. He did it every time when I was sleeping at nighttime. Disappear for a few hours and then came back home lying. I always knew what happened. Until I finally one day came home and caught them on the couch. He won't have anything to deny. And at the moment I was furious and shocked. I was trying to control my temper, simply asked them both to leave, but they ignored me, continued hugging on the bed. And when I pushed my husband to get up and asked the women to leave, he stood up angrily and said, "I am the one who need to leave," and the whole time that woman just sat there and watched us fight. Had no shame and won't leave. I can't believe a human being would do something like this to another human. Unbelievable. My heart was broken into pieces since then. My husband cheated on me with someone worse, and that makes me feel depressed. Part 2. Life has been really tough for me for the past months. I have felt unvalued and even felt like a piece of garbage only cause the man I have loved deeply told me he did not want to be with me, even though he tried before the very moment I moved out of our apartment. He confessed that the only person he ever loved is his ex. For his cheating all the time and cheating on the couch so that I would come home and catch it, he said it is his way of wanting to end the relationship. Harsh. It is so harsh to hear that. The time, love and energy I have invested in this guy. I know he has a lot of mental issue. He is a combat veteran. He has drinking problems and anger management problem. I had always told myself, he is my guy, he is wounded, and I made my vow to love him through low and highs. I wanted to help him get through the darkness. I don't want him to feel abandoned. There are nights I can't sleep cause he would be drinking, and I was worried and scared that he would go outside and drunk driving. I thought I would be a good one by his side. I took care of all the housework and other stuff. So that after his work he can just come home and relax. I want him to feel relaxed at home, and I always encourage him and tell him he was doing good when he was upset. Doing my best to make him feel important and appreciated. I love him, but it is until all the things he confessed and the cheating that I caught, I realized I am not the person he wants and he is not in love with me. Hard still to process all those good moments we have been together, all those difficulties we have been through, and I once felt I was good to him, and he told me he never really had a good woman in his life to take care of him and love him. I know this is the end. I love him enough that I need to set him free. I know he needs help, but I am no longer the one that can help him get through the darkness. I still love and care about him, although we don't talk anymore. And he never would have known that I will always be in the corner where he can't see to cheer him up, hoping he would get better and be happy. I don't want to believe the bad side, thinking that all those times he was nice to me is because he was using me. I rather have those good memories sealed in my heart and forget and forgive all the hurt he has brought me and wish him all the best. I will try to be strong, try not to miss him so much, try to let go, try to accept the fact that he is not mine to hug anymore, and try to cry less. And I thank you so many people reaching out to me hoping I will get better. There is no word to describe how thankful I am. Thank you so much.